declared yourself eligible for the WNBA. I think I understand your motivations. You're leaning into ultimately Sophie's push for fairness, but yet the WNBA is now going to hold talks over this nuanced and complex issue where it doesn't really seem complex. Biological men should not be allowed to play in ladies basketball. Why are you getting involved, and how did the WNBA even get to this point?
You know, right now I'm just having a blast in my feminine era. I never thought that I was a woman. You know, I've always trusted the science, and I thought I was a man my entire life. But you know, after further review, strong look at my personal preferences, it would appear that I am indeed sometimes identifying as a transgender woman, and I think it's only fair I get a chance to play with some of my queens here in the twilight of my career, my athletic prime.
Exactly what you're saying, Royce, is just sort of pulls the curtain back on the lack of clarity in the WNBA's policies under Article 8 of their 2026 collective bargaining agreement. It simply says that only players who are women are eligible to play in the NBA, but in the over 400-page document, it doesn't define what a woman is. It seems the answer of what they do now is pretty clear. Would you agree?
Well, you know, it's just astounding that the WNBA can't define the W in the name. And I think we're going through a very necessary conversation about who's actually eligible to play in some of these professional sports leagues, I guess on both sides of the gender spectrum. My goal is to help elevate the WNBA. I think the ticket prices and the attendance, will soar. I think the audience, the live audience will increase. And I think ultimately it's good for the game. It's going to help evolve the game. I mean, who would argue that, a player like myself or an Enes Kanter or, in the future, maybe even, I don't know, a LeBron James, after he expires in the NBA, maybe he wakes up one day and realizes he's a woman as well. Who could argue that wouldn't make the women's game better?
Yeah, you niggas are not serious in 2026, man. This is crazy. But, I mean, I told you guys, folks, like, the WNBA, it's a clown show, right? The WNBA is a clown show, man. I mean, nobody takes that league seriously. And this is the result of people not taking the WNBA seriously anymore, folks. I mean, now you have former players like Enes Kanter and Roycewhite saying that they now identify as women because they feel like it, right? So now the WNBA and their commissioner, they put out a memo yesterday saying that they're going to convene so that way they can come to a conclusion, right, as to what a woman is. This is where we're at in 2026, folks, right? We can't even define what a woman is anymore, okay? And because people don't want to define what a woman is anymore, because everybody wants to be politically correct and, be inclusive and let everybody in, right? Now we're at this point to where now you have grown-ass men saying they want to come play in the WNBA. Folks, this is problematic, okay? I don't want my little girl, right, growing up and playing in a league with grown men, okay? They got to put a stop to this stuff in a hurry before this continues to get even more out of hand than what it already is. I do think it is funny, though. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I think this is absolutely hilarious. And it's a great way to kind of troll the people that, seem to have issues identifying what a woman is, right? I know what a woman is, okay? I was born in the 90s. I'm from a different generation. When I was growing up, there was only men and women. Now we're in the big 2026 and there's like 100 different, people out here. I don't know, so it's not hard for me to determine what a woman is. But I guess it is hard for certain people in 2026, folks. So it looks like we are going to get some clarity here soon from the WNBA They are going to tell us what a woman actually is. And yeah, it doesn't look like trans athletes are going to be allowed in the WNBA here in the near future, folks. That's just my guess on it, though. Would I be surprised if they let a trans athlete in? No, it wouldn't be surprising. In all honesty, it wouldn't be, because with the WNBA, folks, I mean, they're doing just about anything in that damn league, okay? Like, I've literally seen, teammates sleeping around with each other, same-sex relationships. It's all kind of freaky frog activities going on in the WNBA. So if I saw a trans athlete in the WNBA, I'm going to be honest with you, it wouldn't surprise me at all. It would be a little bit disturbing, but it wouldn't surprise me. So, yeah, man, you had a WNBA player. She came out and basically said that, she would welcome a trans athlete on her team.
I think it's trans rights now is our new battle. That's what I think I was saying, that like the battles have changed. Oh, yes. Like our intentions have been the same, but now the environment has changed. We see trans people's rights being, stripped away from them. There's a lot of discourse around trans athletes and where they can compete in. I would welcome a trans athlete on my team or against my team anytime. I don't think it's a problem in the world. It's just another way to kind of attack trans people. We've seen players like Lasia Clarendon who stepped into that forefront and have been brave enough and courageous enough to kind of step up. So I guess that's the next battle that we have to fight as athletes.
We've had coaches come out and say they would welcome trans athletes on their team, and that's kind of why this is even really a topic at this point, folks, because some of the players and coaches in the WNBA, they wouldn't mind it. Me personally, I think it's just absolutely absurd, right? I think the men should play with the men, and if you're not good enough, it's just time to go ahead and hang it up, right? I don't think, the men should then try to go to the women's league and go dominate in the women's league, because they're not good enough to do it in the men's league. I don't know. That's just my take on it, though, folks, right? Like I said, I'm from a different generation. I don't know what the hell is going on in 2026, all right? This shit is it's honestly a little bit disturbing. Okay, we need to throw this whole generation in the garbage can. But you guys come into the comment section down below, man, and let me know your thoughts on, former NBA player Royce White pretty much saying he identifies as a woman, and he's declaring himself eligible now, folks, for the WNBA. Will this happen? I guess we just got to wait and see, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think, and I'm going to catch you guys on the next one. I'm out, folks. Peace.